Hey guys, hold on. I hope y'all having a good day. A good day, a good day. We're working in garden day. Holiday weekend. We're working in the garden. As y'all can see, that the cucumbers are growing. Some jalapenos are growing. Watermelons, corn, okra. It goes on and on. Anyway, it's a lot of work, constant work, but it's worth it. I wanted to come on for a little bit, talk about a few things, because when I was sitting here trimming and cutting jalapenos, I was thinking how hot, all these jalapenos are gonna be, and then I was thinking a little bit about Sebastian Rogers and how this case, from what I'm learning, is really heating up on the inside walls of Summer County law enforcement offices. Not just one office, offices. I have a feeling that this might have had something to do with the case that we just witnessed, the court case, right? Hey guys, how's it going? The court case. So, first off, let's just say I hope y'all are having a blessed day. But I got to thinking about it. I did a 2-hour fire chat last night, Sebastian Rogers, and an hour on Jay Slater. So 3 hours plus last night on videos that are loading right now. So y'all will get those today. I think they got a couple hours left to load, because they were like 6 hours to load because they were so long. I usually don't do 2 hours, but I hadn't done fire chats in so long, and I just was wanting to get out there and get everything out of my head. So did a lot of talking about Sebastian, Jack and Lily, and Jay Slater, and I think a little bit of other stuff. But y'all will get those videos today, and they're long videos. I hope y'all are okay with that. I usually don't do that long of a videos, but I had a lot I wanted to get out, and I had a lot I wanted to talk about in the Sebastian Rogers case. And the reason that I'm coming on right now to do this one is the same reason. I feel that I'm wondering if this court case has any outcome in the Sebastian Rogers case. And the more I think about it, the more I'm starting to understand, because I have a family friend, way older than me, 20 years older than me he is, but he's a family friend. I've known him since I was a kid. He's a judge, well, retired judge now. But anyway, I happened to run into him this morning when I was leaving church, which y'all know I go to 6 a.m. Mass when I have a chance. But I visited with him for a few minutes, and because I lit a candle for Jack and Lily, I lit a candle for Sebastian, and I lit a candle for the Jay Slater case that I'm praying is going to be reopened. It looks like it is. And I just lit a candle for, all the cases in general, pretty much. I usually light 5 candles, and on the last candle I said, anybody that I didn't talk about now, give us the answers, right, that we're looking for. And so when I was visiting with him, Judge Malone, he's a wonderful man, I was asking him, I said, hey, if you have a situation like this, where supposedly an autistic child ran away on his own in the middle of the night. Well, I shouldn't have said middle of the night, because Katie's saying it was Monday, so it actually would have been in the wee morning hours of Monday, according to the mom. But and that during this thing, they couldn't handle the pressure of YouTubers and the pressure being put on them, because when people start discovering truth in anything, in any one little thing, they seem to get mad and get defensive. They were painting a picture, they wanted it to go their way, right? But as YouTubers, when we see something, we try to dig the facts up and learn that doesn't make sense. So they didn't like that. So they went after these people with no grounds, all lies, all BS, all allegations. I mean, the grand jury saw right through them. And this is their hometown, guys. This is where they're supposed to have pool. And I always told you, I don't think they have the pool y'all think they have, but if they had the pool, they would have won this case. That's how I see it. If they had the pool, Chris would have won against Nina. He filed it in his hometown for a reason. He thought he had friends there that were gonna, his mama was gonna butter him up and they were gonna be on his side, and it didn't work. But if you think about that, it does make sense that we've always thought the red flags, the lies, the inconsistent stories, and the lies. I go back to the lies a lot because they have lied a lot. We know that. And starting with simple things like a lie detector test. Why lie about that? Why lie about being cleared? Why lie about just face the fact that you should know the law, right? An autistic 15-year-old vanishes from your home where CPS reports and many things have stacked up. You think they're going to clear you? No, not when it's suspicious. I mean, and I get that he was more worried about that court case with Nina than he was anything else. And I think anything that tried to get in the way of anything, or when people were digging up his past, he was getting upset and getting mad. But yet, why all the simple lies? If you'll lie about simple things, you'll lie about anything. I mean, some of the things that they bald-faced lie about are stupid, petty things. And then some of the common sense tells us if a child goes missing in that home, and it looks suspicious to them, of course they're going to request lie detector test. At least ask. They take one. I mean, that they shouldn't have prepared for that. But that's what he said. Why lie about a lie detector? That's like the worst lie you can tell. You're lying about taking a test that's going to prove your innocence if you're innocent. That's what he's like, that to me, to him, that was like the biggest part of it. I'm like, I don't get that, like the way you're thinking about it. He said, can you imagine? They're lying about something simple that the majority of the public knows, that innocent people will take it in a heartbeat just to to clear themselves and let the detectives keep doing their work. But yet he wants to lie about it multiple times, and then a lot of other things but like he said, if he'll lie about a lie detector, if he'll lie about lying, he'll lie about anything. So I was like, man, you know what? It kind of makes sense. If he'll lie about lying, he'll lie about anything. And he said, yeah, the court, that gives it a lot of answers to law enforcement, because law enforcement believes in the justice system. We talked about this before. They believe in the system that works, right? They work. Their oath is to protect, right? And so when you simply throw false allegations out, which he's trying to tell everyone in a lot of these videos, quit throwing out speculations and false stuff. But yet they did the same thing, but worse. They took it to the court, and they tried to take it to the higher court, knowing it was lies. So every time they got up there under oath, this is the point he made. Every time they got up there on that stand, any lie that they told under oath that there's no proof for, that prosecutor looks at that as lies, each one of them. So now that he said they'll go back through secretly, they'll get a detective to go back through and look at all the clips for that court case, and then they'll start circling the lies. And he says what they do is, he says, I don't know if they do it there in Hendersonville, but we do it here. He says, we can go through and say, okay, this is a lie, circle that one, this is a lie, circle that one, this is a lie, circle that one, because they do hold their hand up and say they swear to tell the truth, nothing but the truth, nothing but the whole truth. So help me God, right? So in a way, y'all know what happens when you lie under oath. I mean, I think a lot of people know that. And his point is they probably allowed this to go as far as it did because they needed that. That's just a backup weapon. And I'm like, what do you mean? He said, that is a backup weapon to get them in there. And I was like, okay. He says, if prosecution can prove any one lie in any of their statements under oath, and it's fact that they can prove the lie, he said, that's lying under oath. He said, so if they told one lie under oath, most likely they told more, because they had to tell more to cover the next lie, to cover the next lie. And if they drug these people through the mud based on lies, he said, not only can they turn around and countersue, which from what I'm hearing, I think they're going to, he said, if the lies are clearly visible, that judge will ask and make, which in this case would be Christian Crady Proudfoot, pay for all the charges, which we know now that they have to pay for all the charges. I read that to y'all yesterday. I showed y'all that picture yesterday where the judge ordered the Proudfoots to pay the two YouTubers court fees, lawyer fees, all that stuff. And now they could come back and take for lost time, lost videos, lost things of this nature, right? So now they're playing with fire, because now they can go in and look at, okay, I lost, 500 subscribers. And if you break down an average on what you make off of each subscriber, that's considered a loss. So those YouTubers can total all those things up and be like, hey, because of you and because of your lies, I lost all this money. Plus, I'm out all this money. Plus my time. Plus the embarrassment. Plus you trying to drag my name in the mud. Like, that could end up being a really big deal. Like, I'm serious. According to him, it can be a really big deal. Like, these YouTubers should come after them for hundreds of thousands of dollars. I mean, that's not something to laugh about. That is serious. But most of all, it can end up helping in the Sebastian case, because it paints a picture. It paints a picture of lies. So if you're going to lie under oath, you're going to have no problem lying to an officer at your home, or a detective at your home. Think about that. This court thing paints a way bigger picture that I didn't even realize it painted. And he's like, you don't understand the seriousness of this. This right here can be the key to open up a door. And he said, the thing is that every time they lie and it's caught, that's another reason for them to disbelieve these two. So yeah, I think that's kind of important. Did we learn anything from it? All we learned was, like I said in the beginning, they have no chance of winning. I said that months ago when it first happened. I said they'll never win. They're just making these people spend money and their time. But it's going to come back and haunt them. Remember, I said that. It's going to come back and haunt them. Because when the lies are proven, you can't erase the lies, especially not under oath. So there's so many doors now that open up for those YouTubers for the false allegations and the lies. Okay? So all the prophets did, actuality, was give these YouTubers more weapons to fight with. Because now, imagine what's going to happen here. Okay, let's just say say either one of these YouTubers had a big account. Okay, so just take JLR, for instance. What, 300,000 plus, 400? I mean, this dude is growing rapidly, right? Think if that would have happened to him. What if they'd have done that to JLR? and the amount of ads and commercials and videos he puts out, the amount of revenue he brings in. And they would have done this to him and tried to drag him through the mud. We know he would have fought. He would have countersued the day that they dismissed the case for hundreds of thousands of dollars. He probably would have just said $1 million. I want $1 million. I'm not pain and suffering. Pain and suffering, there's no way to put a price on it. Depends on how you pain and suffer. And I mean, this is something that these two YouTubers, I mean, I don't know them. That's why I say YouTuber. I mean, I know the names. It's Bull and Betty and Barbecue Lady. But, you know, and shout out to them for winning. Shout out to them for staying their grounds. You know, it sucks that they had to shell all that money out on lawyers, but at least they're going to get it all back. And they're going to have to take, and the profits now have to pay them. So do you realize not only did you accuse them of things that you couldn't prove, like you do in every case you file, against Nina, against Seth, they were never able to prove anything. What happened to Katie's 5 witnesses against Seth? Not one of them showed up. So it's telling me that they just make up lies and file it. You know? And that's why they don't win. It's because they don't have any facts. But it's a reoccurring process. So these YouTubers now, if they're smart, just to fight fire with fire, right? That's what they say. Why don't they go after them for a couple $100,000 each? Why not? They don't have nothing to lose. Because when they turn around and counter like that on them, knowing that the profits have to pay their fees now and their lawyers, which means they're going to get their money back, which they should. They didn't do anything wrong. So evidently they were proved in court innocent. So yeah, they're going to get their money back. Their lawyers are going to get paid. You know, which I think the lawyers are already paid, but at least the Bullhorn Betty and Barbecue Lady are going to get their money back they spent. Every dime they spent on the legal fees, they're going to get back. But that to me wouldn't be enough. What about the travel, the gas, the hotels? What about all this stuff? What about the looking bad onto some people on your channel, losing customers? You know, all this stuff adds up. You know, and the biggest part of it all is reputation. We have to have, our livelihood depends on our reputation on YouTube or on whatever platform we're on, right? We can't come out here and tell you a bunch of lies that y'all won't watch our channel, right? So it's a reputation damage to me in a way that I feel they need to go after them. And I think they should fight fire with fire. I think it's just now beginning. I think what did they say? What did they say back in the day? Awoke the sleeping giant, right? Because now, if they had really, which it looks like they had good lawyers because they won, but they should ask that same lawyer, hey, what do you think we should do? And let the lawyer tell you. Should we go after them for pain and suffering, for lost wages, lost time, wear and tear of vehicles driving back and forth, hotels, meals, things that we wouldn't normally have had to spend? They deserve all that money back. It's not fair. It was proven that it was a lie based on lies and false allegations. So yeah, I think they should get everything back. And so put them in a corner now like they put you in a corner. Because they're sitting over here laughing, saying, ha, 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 we got you. They thought they were going to win, really. And I knew they had no shot. Because there was no evidence. There was no proof. She posts her videos on YouTube for the world to see. Do you think she's going to post something that's going to land her in jail? You know, this woman was charged and booked into a jail, I believe, and had a bailout. All these things, that embarrassment, what she went through, that's worth, I mean, to some people, that might be worth $1 million. You know, you have me arrested and put in jail for nothing. Oh, yeah, I'm coming after you. Because the embarrassment of it all would be enough in itself. You can't put in a price on damaged reputation. Especially when you are building a platform and you have a platform. Betty's platform is not small. I mean, to me, anything over 5,000, 10,000 viewers is a pretty nice channel. Especially when you get to 20 or 30,000, that's even more. So I look at it as basing this on what I see. I see two people that think they're invincible and that do nothing but lie. And it's sad. Because the one person that suffered in all this is Sebastian Rogers. He had to live in that home full of lies, full of false allegations. Right? This is a child that captured America's hearts. He was extra special, unique in so many ways, and yet treated so poorly by the one that he needed to love him the most. He needed Katie to be a mom, to be a good role model, not to have such corporal punishment and allow a man that doesn't even have a non-biological parent. She allowed this man to put his hands on her autistic child. What does that tell us about her as a person? And then to come to find out that her name was on some of these CPS reports, it's totally heartbreaking. And poor little Sebastian couldn't escape. If this child was going to escape or run away, he'd have done it a long time ago. But I don't think he would have ever ran. I think he would have begged his dad to go live with him. And maybe that's what he wanted to tell Seth that day that he didn't tell him. Maybe he wanted to say, Dad, I don't want to, because he told him he didn't want to go back. So maybe he was trying to tell him he just wanted to live with Dad. I don't want to go back to that household. They're mean to me. I feel like I'm locked in a dungeon. I mean, he didn't go outside. He didn't have any toys outside to play with. He's a 15-year-old at the time. And he had not one toy outside. Not even a little plastic kiddie pool when he loved the pool. This little child had hopes and dreams just like everybody else. But can you imagine what his hopes were? Do you really stop and think? And put yourself in his shoes? What do you think this child prayed for at night? That's what hurts my heart. What do you think this child was praying for? For the abuse to stop? To be treated like a normal kid? Does law enforcement think about these things when they think about these cases? Or is it all about the case? Or do they actually stop for 1 minute? Does Eric Craddock ever sit in his living room and think about what this kid went through in his life that led up to the moment? Do they honestly do that? I don't know if they do, but I think they should. Because even if they would just take 10 minutes to think about what this kid, what Sebastian Rogers was going through in that home life there at the Proudfoot's home, being made fun of by his step-grandparents, being picked on by his aunts and step-grandparents, and his own mother and stepfather, being married to wear diapers at 15 years old, when he's already has a hard enough time fitting in at school. You're going to put that on him as well. You're going to make fun of him with chocolate milk on his face, and you're actually going to, instead of doing a retake of that photo, you allow that. That's hurtful. And it paints a picture that this Sebastian Rogers was not treated very nicely at all. And the mother allowed this man to put his hands on her child, an autistic child with special needs. that needed his mother to protect him. And she didn't. She didn't protect this child. She allowed it. So one thing I pray for right now is that over this holiday weekend, and I know Summer County has people that listen to all these videos. I know that. I'm not stupid. So you know what? I'm going to say one thing, and I hope it's clear. As all y'all investigators on this case sit around this holiday weekend and enjoy your weekend, enjoy your family, hug your kids, hug your grandkids, whatever it may be, hug your family. Everybody tell them you love them. You're cooking, you're eating, you're having a wonderful family time together. Just take 10 minutes of your time and really think about Sebastian Rogers and what this child went through every day. Think about that. Not one single toy outside to play with. Not a basketball, not a baseball, not a football, not a batting cage, not a little kiddie pool, not nothing. No electric scooters to cruise around on. Living in a more than $500,000 home, and they couldn't even buy their child a toy to play with outside. A kickball. Hey, let's go outside and get some exercise, Bubba. Let's go kickball today. Let's go bat some wiffle balls today. Let's go work on your hand-eye coordination. Let's go bat some balls. Let's go pitch a football for a little bit. Let's go play on your scooter. Let's go swim in your little kiddie pool. I know it's not the biggest pool in the world, but we just got the house and we need to save our money, so I got you a plastic pool. A $20 plastic pool. At least you can sit down in there and get some water on your feet. You might not be able to swim in it, but at least you can sit in the water that you love to do, Sebastian, and hang out in the pool. And be a kid. Because I want you to be happy as mama. That's what should have been happening. And the total opposite was happening. She was allowing this kid to be beat on by the stepfather, the man she loves more than her own child. She allowed this man to put his hands and to put belts on her child. Allowed it. She did it herself. She allowed this man to go in their child's room and throw away all his toys just to crush his little heart, because they got, I guess they got off on whatever happened. To them, oh, it's okay to throw away all his toys. It's okay to throw away the things your child loves and plays with. So now I understand why she said he played with pennies and paper clips. Because he probably didn't have anything else to play with. Think about that. Let that sink in. Because nobody really talks about this in this way. But I had enough. Law enforcement needs to wake the hell up. Follow the trail of lies by these two individuals that not only did they abuse a special needs child, they neglected him. They locked him in his room. They made fun of him. They laughed at him. They picked on him. They said, oh, he likes to pee on himself. He likes to get in people's face and evade their space. Think about how hurtful that is. And yet, Sebastian Rogers, through all of this nightmare, still had a smile on his little face. Cutest smile I ever seen. Cutest laugh I ever seen. I'm not here. I would never say a child is goofy. They're silly, they're funny, they're cute. They're not goofy. So what if he gets close to people? That's not you. He's not doing it to you. Let the other kids that he's doing it to, let them stand up for their own self. Let them explain to him, hey, I don't mind visiting with you, but don't get all up in my face like that, please, right? Let them defend themselves. The whole problem was in this whole case, the truth, I think, was that this kid embarrassed them. They were embarrassed because of his special needs. You think Sebastian could help he had special needs? No, that's Katie's fault. It's Katie's fault that he had special needs, not Sebastian's. Sebastian didn't have himself. So explain that. And as all these law enforcement sit around the holiday weekend and celebrate it, this is what I want y'all to take a few minutes of your day to think about. You know, I know y'all want to solve this case. Y'all say y'all do. I know you probably look into it one day a week. It's fading fast. But all I'm asking is, from the prosecutor to the DA to anyone that's ever been involved in this case, just take 10 minutes of your weekend, because it's a long weekend, and think about that for a minute. Close your eyes and think about how Sebastian must have felt. You know what? You know why I love school so much? Because he was away from that nightmare. He was out of that home that he felt was a dungeon in an evil place. The only secure spot he had was on the other side of his bed. What the hell is that? This kid had to go hide on the other side of his bed? Are you kidding me? He's hiding from the people that are supposed to protect and love him. I can't understand it. I'm raising two girls and cannot imagine them not having a volleyball outside to play with, or a little kiddie pool to swim in, or toys in their room, or frozen stuff, or anything. Doesn't matter. I can't imagine them not being able to be kids. I can't imagine my kids ever being scared of me, or of anyone for that matter. I mean, yeah, I just don't get it. I don't get how they don't see what we see. Law enforcement has the power to do and say whatever the hell they want to. They have the authority to dig in any case that's in their office. So that's what I say. If this was your child being treated this way, how would you react? A lot of y'all right now are saying, shoot, I'd probably be beating the heck out of it. Exactly, right? It would make you angry, make you disgusted. It would make you want to rescue Sebastian Rogers from that nightmare that this child had to endure every day, and still every day put a smile on his face. Had a cute sense of humor. That's why I say he's unique. He's different. But in such a wonderful way. Not a bad way as they painted it out to be. His heart beats just like yours and mine. His blood flows just like yours and mine. He feels pain just like we do. He gets scared just like we do. Same thing. Just because he has special needs doesn't make him any different. It just makes him extra special. So, one thing I wanted to get my point across in all this is that court just opened up a new door to me. A door that paints the picture we've all been saying. The lies, the lies, the lies, the lies. They got to stop. And the only one that can stop them is law enforcement. It's the only one. So that's why I say that. I don't care if law enforcement gets mad at me for saying this. I don't care if FBI gets mad at me, Secret Service. I don't care. They should be feeling the same damn way. They should be looking at it the same way. If this kid was going to run, he would have ran the day that he got whacked for not wearing a belt. Or one of the other times. He would have ran when it was in the moment. He wouldn't have waited till he had the funnest day of his life for once. And to say that's the funnest day of his life, that's totally sad. Because all you did was go to BJ's, to a bowling alley, and he didn't even get to bowl, and to Texas Roadhouse to eat. You didn't go outside and play kickball or baseball or football or basketball or ride a scooter or swim in a little swimming pool. You didn't take him to do what he really loved to do. So for them to say, oh, he had such a what's so wonderful about going to BJ, or having a class of popcorn, and going to Strike and Spare, and not even getting to bowl, and going to Texas Roadhouse to eat, which is her favorite place to eat. How do we know that's his favorite place to eat? He probably would eat anything. He ate like he'd never eaten in a week. The poor little baby, skin and bones. He probably eats better at school than he does at home. The controlling aspect of this, Cam's, the controlling of 2 military personnel that treated this child like he was in boot camp every day. And they fought so hard to punish him, it feels like. For what? For his special needs? You should know better than anyone. You can't change that. And with age, it gets worse. So the thought to her of having to take care of this child for the rest of her life, but yet you were going to give him to Seth. So what should it have mattered to you anymore? You wanted to put this kid in a home. Why? You wanted to put this kid in a home because you knew you couldn't let him go to Seth because the truth would come out. And you knew Seth would freak the hell out. Because why? Because he loves Sebastian unconditionally. He's the one that took Sebastian to do the things he loved. Fishing. To game in big places where they play these video games, right? All that costs money. Seth didn't care. He worked. Now, he don't make a buttload of money like they do, but he still utilized his money and set aside money to take Sebastian to do these things. Right? Seth might have been cutting back on the things that he liked to eat or the things that he wanted to do to make sure that Sebastian, when he came, he had the funnest time ever. That's a parent. You just see Seth over here saying, I made him wear diapers. I threw all his underwear away. Yeah, I bagged up all his toys and threw them away. Made him walk it out to the trash can. You didn't see that on Seth's side. I'm not saying they don't get frustrated every now and then, but if you get frustrated as a parent, you do what you're supposed to do. You shut your mouth, you go in another room, and you sit in a chair, and you take about 100 deep breaths, and you think, is this right or is this wrong? I never whipped one of my girls, not one time in my life. I never had to. Now, would I sit them down and talk to them? Yeah. But just like I talk to y'all, in a calm, collective voice, and ask them, do you understand that that's wrong, or do you want to talk about it, right? You have to communicate. Every child is different. Just like every autistic child is different. But communication is the key. You think these teachers would have treated them like Case and Katie treated Sebastian? No, he loved his teachers. Why? Because they made him feel special. Which is what all they needed to do. All Chris and Katie needed to do was make Sebastian feel special. And as smart as this young child is, it would have been so easy for them. Seth didn't have any problems with him. If he did, he'd just walk out of the room and let Sebastian calm down. That's what parents do. Never punish a child out of anger. If you do that, you're evil as hell. I don't care what anybody says. You got to answer to God, not me. And that's what I always think about. If I was to ever get upset or get frustrated with something, I'd always say, what would God do? And it stuck to me. My grandma told me that when I was young. You know, before I would go here or there, she was like, remember, you gotta be safe, be good, don't do anything wrong, don't do anything stupid. Think it. Just think in your head, what would God do, right? If you feel that it's wrong, think about what would God do. And in this situation, I believe that this trial that just happened, where these two YouTubers, the case was thrown out based on not enough evidence and not even bringing evidence, really, bringing lies and allegations according to the judge, and I mean the grand jury or whatever. They laughed at it and said, get this out of here, you're wasting tax dollars. Bring me some proof. That's crazy. You know who they remind me of? Brian Kohlberger's lawyer. Throw spaghetti at the wall and pray it sticks. Tell a bunch of lies and hope it works. Hope they believe one of them. But that's what I want this weekend. I would like for these law enforcement officers to sit down and take 10 minutes of your time to shut your eyes and think about what this child went through every single day of his life while he was at that Proudfoot home. He wasn't getting to go fishing at 4 and 5 in the morning with his daddy when he was there with Katie and Chris. They weren't taking him fishing. They weren't taking him to do these things. They would take him to different places, but it was always with Chris's family and the other kids. Why didn't you just take Sebastian, just you and Sebastian, to go do something like Seth would do? Take him fishing. Take him to a gaming thing that he loved to do. You talk about the things he loved to do, but yet you didn't take him to do any of those things. You took him where you needed to go, or where you wanted to go, or where Melissa and those the kids, the cousins and stuff wanted to go. The Proudfoot, the Proudfoot and Bowersock side. I'd like to know, did she ever once sit Sebastian down and say, hey, what would you like to do today that's fun? I don't think she ever did that. And it's totally heartbreaking to think about. This is a mom that allowed her child to be essayed when he was 8 years old and did not get him into counseling till he was 14. Do the math. 6 years, right? 7 years, something like that. 6 years. 6 years. A child with special needs that had been essayed by somebody. Took the mom 5 years to put him in counseling. 5 years to get him help. That is neglect from hell. So those law enforcement officers need to think about that as well. And just think about how Sebastian was able to put a smile on his face every day, living in a nightmare. Having to wear diapers, being picked on by his own mother and stepfather, being beat on with a belt by his stepfather and probably his mother. No telling how much this child suffered for all those years. From 8 on. How much did he suffer? But yet still smile every day. That's what makes me upset and angry. And I don't like to get angry, but for them to have the audacity to come out here and speak on these networks and laugh and giggle and bullshit and tell lies. Excuse my language, ladies. Sorry. And tell all these lies about Sebastian. Call Sebastian a liar. Tell us that one story turned into 3, which that doesn't ever happen. Tell us that he walked out the front door in proof, and then tell us he couldn't have walked out the front door. He'd have been seen on camera. Yet Chris has no alibi. Katie has no alibi. No alibi and full of lies. So just take a few minutes and think about what Sebastian endured every day while he was at the Prophet's home and at the Bowersock's home. Because I bet Kathy and them treated him way worse. According to Chris's own family, they treated him way worse. And picked on him, made fun of him, laughed at him. Got all the other little cousins and nephews and nieces and grandkids to pick on him and to make fun of him and to laugh at him. And not one of them, out of all those so-called adults, Not one of them defended him. Not one. And the heartbreaking part of all that is his mother allowed it to happen. The one that he depended on the most. The one that he needed the most. Failed him so miserably bad. She can't take any of that back. Never. And she knows exactly where Sebastian is. Because every time she goes to talk about him, she looks up at God. That's karma right there. And I've said it before. Y'all know what karma is. I'm not saying that word. I don't say that word. But y'all know what karma is. And it always comes back. Always comes back, like my grandpa said, and bites you right in the butt. So, I hope and I pray that they really do have something. I hope and I pray that justice is done for this child. Even if they cannot prove that Katie and Chris are behind this. You can approve, the abuse has proven. It's in the CPS documents. The abuse is there. You can't take that back. The neglect is there. You can't take that back. The corporal punishment of a special needs child is there. That's enough to charge with neglect. All the false allegations and the lies. They all add up to something. What does all that add up to? What do all these lies that they're telling add up to? Guilt. And a whole lot of it. So to me, I pray that law enforcement would do the right thing. It don't matter if you got 50% or 60% or 70%. If you got 10% proof, that's enough. That's enough. Did law enforcement not realize in the beginning that they're showing all these old pictures of Sebastian when he's younger? Was that the time that Katie was happy with Sebastian and okay with Sebastian? And then as he got older, it didn't, because she did separate that in that last interview, second to last interview. He's older now, so things are different. Yeah, he's older now. He's realizing that what y'all are doing to him is wrong. He's realizing what Chris is doing to him is wrong. And you couldn't handle that. Because you know what? It might have interfered with your marriage. But like I said last night, Katie only gets along with the Proudfoots for one reason. Because she's just as evil as they are. Why do you think she's the only wife that's made it? Think about that. Why is Katie the only wife that has made it, married to that man? Because she, for one, is probably just as evil, if not more evil, than all of them. Isn't that sad to think about? Nobody talked about that. Why she's been the wife that's made it out of all 5 wives. She's the one that's made it through everything. Being cheated on, whatever. I don't think Chris has ever abused Katie. I think he just abuses children. I think that's what it is. He's a monster. And Katie allowed it. And probably laughed with him. Because she said they do certain things based on, what was it? How did she say that? She said that, she said something about they used it as a way of, like, a form of good behavior. Remember, she talked about those things? Like they only allowed this and that because of if he had good behavior. But yet they always say, and both of them are guilty of this. You know, Chris always talks about how Sebastian always says, I'm sorry, I love you, right? Why is he always having to say sorry? Why? Because everything this child does, you're telling him is wrong? Why not let him be a child? I mean, someone that can sit on national air of a YouTube channel, whatever it was, and sit there and say, you're talking about a special needs child with autism, and you ask a simple question of Sebastian is, where's your belt? And if he says, I don't know, you whack him. You really think that that is okay? That is not okay. Go read the laws in Tennessee. This is one thing that's bothering me about law enforcement is they have enough to arrest him for what he did. Yeah, it might only be a couple year probation, first time offender. Well, no, it wouldn't be the first time offender because he's been in trouble before, but that's why he had to go to the military. But he should have been charged in that case. Sorry, he should have been. But eventually your luck runs out. And I think it's coming to that now. But how do you brag about asking your stepson, where's your belt? And he says, I don't know, and you whack him like that. Whack! Right? That's how he said it. But yet, that wasn't the time that CPS was called, he said. So when was the other whack? Because he said he only hit him one time with a belt over his jeans, and it was 3 years ago. That's what he told Nancy Grace, which Nancy Grace don't believe him as far as she could throw him, and I tell you, that ain't very far. So if we're to sit back, we could sit here and talk about Sebastian Rogers all day long, guys. I can. This is a case that I see right through it. I see right through it. I see their true colors. I think everybody knows how these people are. They're evil, they're abusive, they're mean, they're liars. They want to get their way, and they will do anything at any cost to get their way, even if it means taking people to court on false allegations. But thank God they don't have a winning record in court. They don't. So I say, any of y'all out there, go ahead and file against them. I think all y'all should get together. Mob Crew, who all else has he done it to and talked so bad about? What was it? That PI, Seth, that Betty lady, the barbecue lady. They should all get together, right? And come up with a plan of attack. And all individually file suit on the same day. You know, that may wake up somebody. Because if they did that, or, you know, do it each day. Go one of y'all on Monday, one of y'all on Tuesday, one of y'all on Wednesday, one of y'all on Thursday. Each day, one of y'all file. Right? Because y'all have the proof. His words are out there. Saying, Seth will never open his mouth again. Telling the PI, you better hope you never see me in person. I'll slap you. Abuse. That's abuse. Telling the mob crew, abuse. And that was really a bad one. To law enforcement, that phrase that he said about fighting the fire and all that, you get burnt. That is one of the worst threats you can make. I remember I proved it. I pulled it up on the police website and showed it. That is a big no-no. All those things that were done. And then taking those two to court for no reason. Dragging their names in the mud for no reason when they did nothing wrong. That's 5 people right there alone that can file suit against these two. I mean, that to me, and then we'll see how much more they lie in court, right? Just keep building their lies, keep building it. Maybe it's going to take a whole 2,000 stacks of papers of lies before law enforcement does something. But I really hope that they would, you know, I know one of them at least going to hear this video because I know one of the officers there that's on this channel. So, and he's a nice guy. I've never talked bad about him before, but he's not an investigator, so he don't have the means to, you know, to dig into the case the way the actual investigators do. But all in all, I hope they all listen to this video, and I hope they all take 10 minutes of their time this holiday weekend. You know, right after you give your kids a hug, sit down and think about Sebastian. That way your heart's in the right place when you do it. And just put your child in Sebastian's shoes. That's the best way to say it. Mr. Craddock, you have kids, right? Put your child in Sebastian's shoes and close your eyes and think about if your child was experiencing what Sebastian was experiencing. What would you do about it? You would find a loophole. You would find a way. You would find the means. You would, I guarantee you. I can guarantee you that. I saw that in your voice when you said, I'm a father, I have kids, I saw how it broke you down. I know, I saw it on national TV. So I know his kids mean the world to him. So And they should, just like every parent. But in Sebastian's case, he didn't have that in the Proudfoot's home. He had that now with his grandma, on Seth's side, but he didn't have that with the grandparents and step-grandparents on the other side. He didn't have that even in his home. He had to hide on the other side of his bed. And that's where they found him, according to Chris, right? Remember? On the other side of the bed, right? If he's to be correct that night he was been drinking and said that. I mean, I don't know, but I'm just saying it's his words, not mine. He talked about how they grieve, and everybody grieves in different. Why are you grieving when you're saying you're going to find him and bring him home? There's no need to grieve if you're going to find him and bring him home. There's no reason to cherish the memories if you're going to find him and bring him home like you keep saying you're going to do. There's no need. There's no need to say the table's going to be empty at Christmas when it's 3 weeks from Christmas. And then at Valentine's, which was 2.5 months away, it's going to be another day that you're going to have an empty chair at the table. How did you know that? How did you know that? He wasn't going to be home, or he wasn't going to be found. You're telling us that you're going to find this kid no matter what. Why do you need to find him? Why can't he find his own way home? Because to me, if Sebastian would have ran, he would have called his father and would have said, come pick me up. He just wasn't to that point yet. Because he wasn't comprehending it yet. That if he'd have just called up his phone and told Seth to come and get him, I don't want to live here anymore. I mean, what would a bag would he have had to have packed? He had a couple pair of shoes, a couple of outfits, a Nintendo Switch, but he had one at his dad's. He didn't need that. I mean, he didn't have much. I would have loved to have seen the photo of Sebastian's room, to see what stuff he really had, what toys he really had. Guarantee he didn't have a football in his closet, or a soccer ball, or a basketball, or any kind of toys like that in his room. Nothing to go outside and play with. You look at their yard. There's no trails worn out where he would run around the yard. There's no, you come to my house, you're going to see where my kids go, straight to the buggies, right? Their trail leads. They don't come as much as they used to because they're older now, but, there's trails that are worn down from where they go over here to this. If they're going to ride the players, they go this way. If they want the other buggy, they go that way. Like, they have trails all over. They have volleyball nets in the backyard. I built volleyball place because both of my girls have always played volleyball. We got swimming pools. There's so much. Basketball goals, batting cages. And I always got my kids everything they wanted and anything that would help to occupy their time, like anything, shooting basketball, playing a game of out, playing a game of horse, whatever you want to call it, right? I always lost, they always beat me, but still, all in all, it's the bonding time, the time to bond with your kids, right? Play outside, enjoy that. It doesn't hurt to take a little of your time, right? I can't tell you how many times I was cooking something or starting dinner and they wanted to go outside and I shut down and went outside and played. It's what you do as parents, right? So that's what I'm saying. Everybody, just think and put yourself in Sebastian Rogers' shoes and see if you could have wore a smile like that bright and that shiny every day going through what he went through in that home. Because they've told us everything that he went through and the evilness that this child went through and the picked on and the made fun of, and it's just sad. Because if Sebastian Rogers didn't have to wear diapers with Seth, then why would he have to wear them over there? It was the abuse, guys. He was terrified. He was terrified of Chris Proudfoot. I bet you every time he walked by that man, he put his head down. And probably never opened his mouth out of fear that he would say something wrong. And that is heartbreaking. But as the mourning doves make their noises, we need to think about Sebastian Rogers on this weekend and say a little prayer for him and keep fighting for the truth. Y'all know these are my thoughts, my opinions, my free speech, and I take it from me. Everyone is innocent until proven guilty in the court of law, but I'm allowed to share my thoughts. I'm allowed to share my opinions, right? I pay my taxes. I do my duties. I can say whatever's on my mind as long as it doesn't go crazy, right? But in all, this is how I feel. And it's sad because a lot of the proof is out there. They've told us how this child was. They've told us how they treated this child from the very beginning. And then have tried to get cleared the whole entire time. which from what I heard, they will never be cleared until Sebastian Rogers is found. Which means that's going to bury a weight of burden on them forever. Because it starts affecting your everyday life as time goes on. And instead, that's the only way that they can punish them, is to just keep them as not cleared, right? Until they build the case all the way around. But I'm curious to see, now that this case is over in Hendersonville with the BS and the allegation, is now this case going to pick up? Right, I think they were doing this to distract the prosecutor and everybody else and all this stuff, because I think it was like a delay tactic, a way to throw a monkey wrench into everything that was going on, to slow down some of the drive and heat and stuff that was on Sebastian Rogers' case that was being put on them. But eventually, it's all going to come out. You know how I think this should all go? You want me to be totally honest of what I think when parents are suspected in a missing children's case or have not been cleared? I think what they should do is, I think they should give Nancy Grace a call. If they're really being honest and they're really not lying, give Nancy Grace a call and say, hey, I'm going to take you up on that lie detector test. And me and Katie are both going to come take it. And let them go take that lie detector test. I know that it's only 50-50. Lie detector test is not really, there's guilty people that can pass, right? But not just any test, the same test Seth took, right? I think that's only fair to compare apples to apples with the same person. And let's see what their results show. And let's let them ask that question that they asked Seth at the end, right? On his thoughts about what he thinks actually happened, right? Because we know what that answer is to him. And we know he gave a correct, truthful answer. So, needless to say, I don't believe Katie passed the test. I've never talked about it, maybe once or twice, but from what I understand, no, she didn't pass her test. 3 to 4 questions, main important questions, had a little, like a little, you know how it goes, it goes like this, I think that's what happened. But anyway, that's my thoughts. I'll keep that, take it as a grain of salt till we learn more. But I don't know, guys. Sebastian Rogers deserves justice. Like I said, I came on here to do 10 minutes and I'm at an hour. Sebastian can get me, I can talk about this child all day. I'm not going to let this case go away, and I'm not going to give up. But it does break my heart to think about what this child endured and how he was able to keep a smile on his face. So y'all have a wonderful holiday weekend, guys. Have a blessed day. We love y'all, guys. Trigger warnings times 100 million. Y'all's comments, you know, of course, are y'all's and y'all's alone. Not to reflect the channel. We do our research together because we are a big hearted little family, guys. Remember. Take me as a grain of salt at the bottom of the Atlantic Ocean or Pacific. Just put me down there with the Titanic, right? Grain of salt on the Titanic deck, right? The bow. Take my words as that, I guess you can say. Whatever protects me, you know, my big alleged bubble, whatever it takes, right? Tonight's going to be really crazy. That's why I'm hoping last night's videos, that 2-hour video is going to load today before I do tonight's, because I got to get these off of here so I can free up. Because tonight we're going to do a special video for Sebastian Rogers and some things we want to talk about. It's going to get really crazy. But anyway, guys, y'all have a blessed day. We love y'all. Remember, these are just my thoughts, my opinions, my theories, my speculation, my free speech. I'm entitled to it. Take it as you will, but allegedly, these are just my thoughts, guys. Y'all have a wonderful, blessed day. We love y'all. Sebastian Rogers, we will not give up on you, buddy. Everybody keep all the missing, all the runaways in your prayers. They run for a reason. You know, even the ones that need justice, just pray for them as well. All right, guys, keep up the fight. We'll talk soon. Bye.